this government is wanting it to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a great pleasure for me to get up and speak today, and I'm going to speak today, Mr. Speaker, about law and order and our police service and the latest crime stats results that have just been released, and they look very good to me, Mr. Speaker.
Very good.
We're seeing total crime reducing, we're seeing murder rates dropping, serious assaults on the decline, robberies trending down, total burglaries dropping, and overall a 4.8% reduction in recorded crime. I think these results are phenomenal, Mr. Speaker, and just continuing on a trend that we've seen start back in 2008. What happened in 2008? The National Government came into power, Mr. Speaker.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Another thing happened, Mr. Speaker, and that is that we saw a strengthening of the police leadership. We saw Commissioner Peter Marshall and his deputies Mike Bush and Viv Rickard come in, and they are indicative of the type of strong leadership that we're now seeing become prevalent within our police force. They have all the skills required of a CEO and senior managers, but they've remained connected with the front line, which in a service like the police is respected and helps build morale and results like the ones we're seeing. I'd like to congratulate them on the Prevention First model that has been rolled out nationally and is part of the model that our neighbourhood policing units that we'll see working in our communities soon. This fits in perfectly with our comprehensive program of reform to protect communities, prevent crime and put victims first. We're staying tough on criminals and keeping record numbers of police on the beat. Neighbourhood policing teams are a move towards supporting prevention first. They'll be established in 32 priority locations across the country where you're more likely to be a victim of crime. The neighbourhood policing teams will take a collaborative approach, working side by side with residents, business owners and community groups. They'll be focused on addressing the drivers of crime. Essentially, Mr. Speaker, it's a great extension of what we've always experienced in our community constable.
That's right.
A policeman that was always out in the community, generally was recognised, that people felt safe approaching, could talk to and discuss their issues and problems within the community. We're now going to see a big expansion of what has been a very useful model, thank you, useful model in our communities with these neighbourhood support groups. We've also made some big changes to the Crime Act, Mr. Speaker, which have come into effect to protect the most vulnerable in our communities. The new law makes an offence to stay silent if you know that a child or a vulnerable adult is at risk of death, harm or sexual assault.
About time.
It is no longer acceptable in this country for people to turn a blind eye or use the excuse that they were not involved in the abuse of a child when they knew the child was at risk. A painful memory from my own policing career, Mr. Speaker, was picking up the body of a baby who was beaten and broken. She had been abused over a long period of time and all under the nose of people who should have stepped forward to protect her. I know that none of us want to live in a country where we can't protect our children and the most vulnerable from harm. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, in my time overseas, I spent most of my time, in fact, I'm sure my friends would tell you they got sick of hearing it, promoting New Zealand and espousing the virtues of this beautiful country and encouraging them to come down here and visit. But it was not easy when I was asked at a gathering of my friends one day when it had been all over CNN about another death of a baby in New Zealand. And they turned to me and they asked me and they said, "Can't you people protect your own kids?" And these types of law changes are going a long way towards making sure that we're doing our job to give the tools to the police to do a better job of being able to protect our kids and children. National have delivered on our promise to put 600 extra police on the front line by the end of 2011. And we've given police better tools to do their jobs. Just hang on, I'm getting to Labor in a minute. We'll continue to ensure our frontline police are able to spend more time on the streets preventing crime. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. The time for this debate has expired. I call on members' order of the day number 1.